time to hear from the 2026 NBA Finals MVP and the captain of the Knicks, Jalen Brunson.
Welcome back to another live film. Shout out to the YouTube channel. Let's get into it, man. The Cable Guy, movie that came out in 1996. It was a dark comedy thriller directed by Ben Stiller, starring Jim Carrey.
How many times did I tell Mike to stop doing that shit? Sorry. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Jim Dolan and the front office for
His obsessive cable installer, Chip Douglas, who forces his friendship on a new customer, Stephen Kovacs, played by Matthew Broderick. Initially a box office success, the film received mixed reviews upon release, but it has since gained a significant cult following for its dark humor, satirical take on loneliness and media obsession. Featuring a cast that includes Leslie Mann and Jack Black. After a breakup, Steve Kovacs hired Chip Douglas to install cable. Chip, who was raised on a TV sitcom, sees Steven as a friend, becomes increasingly intrusive and dangerous when rejected, growing the line between best friend and worst enemy. Blend black comedy, satire, psychological thriller, which confused some audiences and places at the time. Ben Stiller was directed. Writer Lou Holtz Jr. uncredited contributors from Judd Apatow and others. The legacy of this movie is that, while not as a massive hit as Carrey's other 1996 films, it's now considered a cult classic, praised for its dark, prophetic, and ahead of its time themes. The budget for this movie was $47 million. The budget grossed $102.8 million.
There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions. Say shit to them.
Came out June 14th, 1996.
They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
First time screenwriter Lou Holtz Jr. received the Cable Guy while working as a prosecutor in Los Angeles, and that he was once saw a cable company employee in the hallway of his mother's apartment building and started thinking, what's he doing here so late? Screenplay. The screenplay became the subject of a bidding war that was won by Columbia Pictures at a price of $750,000 plus a $250,000 additional bonus if the movie got made. The role of Cable Guy was really sold when Chris Farley attacked the star, but he later dropped out due to scheduling difficulties. Adam Sandler was also considered. Please hit the like button for the two people. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Jim Carrey received $20 million in a record amount to star. Following Carrey's signing, Columbia Pictures hired Judd Apatow to produce. Columbia's rebuffed Apatow's interest and directing, accepted his suggestion to invite Ben Stiller on Who's Ben Stiller's show Apatow had booked. Stiller was considered to play the Stephen Kovacs character before it was offered to Matthew Broderick. Screenplay by Lou Holtz Jr. was a lot of comedy, described by Apatow, like What About Bob, a non-family movie, but a Cable Guy was a likable loser who intrudes upon the cable to describe his life, but never in a physically threatening way. So Carrey Apatow still would like to settle with somebody who's really smart, technology invading somebody's life, and opted to add slapstick, local tones, treated to a satire of words such as escape fear, lawful entry, the hand that rocks the cradle. The dialogue will also fit Carrey's style of comedy. Holtz wrote 4 additional drafts, each one darker than the previous, before leaving the project, giving Apatow the opportunity to take over the writing. Apatow and Stiller visited Carrey as he was filming Ace Ventura when Nature Calls in South Carolina. And for a few days, with the block of the set, price pieces that were added to the script to further explore how Carrey wants to perform the character. Overall, the final script had elements so disturbing that Columbia verbally placed returning regarding certain scenes. But it appeared that the studio did not specifically order removals, but took the scenes out as part of the natural evolution of our creative process. Studio stated that he shot every scene without the version light version, and that he was surprised that the studio did not object to the violent ending. The fight sequence at medieval times between Ship, played by Jim Carrey, and Stephen, played by Electric Broderick, the homage to the store took episode amok time, including the use of Vulcan weapons, dialogue, background music. Record Ben Stiller is an admitted Trekkie. So the actor Charles Napier guest starred in the Star Trek original series, episode the way to Waits Eating. Thanks for 4 people subscribe, hit the like button. Thank you. The Cable Guy grossed $19,806,226 on its opening weekend, ranked number 1 and held the rock. At the time, it had the highest opening weekend for a Ben Stiller film. On this record until 2000, the Meet the Parents passed it. It grossed a total of $60,240,295, and the North American domestic market $42,485,501 outside of the United States, making a total of $102,825,796 worldwide gross, but failed to reach domestic projected numbers. Jim Carrey brought to his previous movies. Apato said people looked at it as a failure because it didn't even make more money. Despite the critical perception that the movie was a disappointment, it made a profit in excess of its 47 production budget. The film was released in the United Kingdom on July 12, 1996. Opened on number 2 behind Mission Impossible. The film was released on VHS on December 3, 1996, DVD on September 15, 1997, on 15th anniversary Blu-ray released on March 1st, 2011. Sony reissued it in format as a manufacturer with the main title on December 17, 2018. So this Cable Guy movie has been regarded as having a darker tone than most of Jim Carrey's previous work. The character may seem goofy at first, but later turns sinister and he turns scary. So it's definitely developed, a cult following throughout the years. Jim Carrey won the Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite Movie Actor. Jim Carrey also won Best Comic Performance, Best Villain, and MTV Awards, and Best Fight. Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick was nominated. Stickers Bad Awards, Most Painful Unfunny Comedy. That's it, man. 30 years ago. Cable Guy came out. Thanks for those who tuning in. Be back soon with another video at the bottom of the hour. Till then, talk to you soon.